Simpsons Index, an online spreadsheet that is also a podcast. This is the podcast.
Coming to you out of SideQuest Studios, this is The Simpsons Index, episode 202. Hello out there, I'm your host, Elliot J. O'Neill, and joining me is Elementary Springfield.
Springfield. Claire Sullivan.
Lauren Buck.
Yay.
Thank you for joining us. And of course, this is The Simpsons Index. It's a podcast where we watch and review 3 episodes of The Simpsons at a time, but there is a twist. Each episode comes from a different decade. Much different to your Simpsons podcast. What's your guys' premises?
So different. Our premise is that because I grew up in Tasmania, and Tasmania did not have The Simpsons. So I didn't watch The Simpsons. And Buck grew up in Victoria.
I know, Elliot. Like, we just have to take a moment to know that this is a grown woman that
29.
does not understand any Simpsons references whatsoever.
Nah.
None of them. Anything you can think of, she doesn't know. She doesn't know.
I once went to a pub with a group of friends, and we were making fun of my friend because she was like, she went on a date with a guy in a vest. And I was like, who was wearing a vest? And then everyone broke into song. And I was like, what the fuck is going on?
Can you imagine, right? So we're watching seasons 3 to 8 in order.
Yep.
That's
and one of
what
the
we're
funniest things I've heard on your podcast, because, Claire, you haven't seen The Simpsons, is that, because of the absence of Simpsons, you've often seen the things that The Simpsons are referencing.
Yeah.
So you know what The Simpsons, and like most people will only know the Simpsons reference to it.
Yes.
I'm like, oh, that from that thing. And Box's like, no, that's The Simpsons. Like, no, they're referencing this very specific moment. And this, and Box's like, oh, okay.
I'm just not cultured.
No, it's an educational experience all round. And really been enjoying your show and glad you can join us today on the Index,
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Thanks for having
Ready.
us.
where we can show you some episodes well outside of seasons 3 to 8.
Yes, extremely outside.
Oh my God. So outside.
But just before we get into that, Claire, we've just sort of gone through your Simpsons history then. But Lauren, what about you? Where did The Simpsons begin with you?
6 o'clock on Channel 10, baby. Like, all the way, right?
Yeah.
Just by osmosis, you just were watching it until dinner time, until dinner was on, until Simpsons finished, and then like Home and Away shit started or whatever. So that was me and my 2 siblings just watching The Simpsons there, and then they had the new episode night as well. So you know what? You just watched it because it was on,
Yep.
and then you watch the same episodes over and over again. So the sort of thing that everybody watched at the same time. So everyone caught up at the same time to whatever season was happening. That doesn't happen anymore.
Was it on every night?
Yeah, every night they did repeats at 6 o'clock on Channel 10, Claire.
Right, because I think when Tasmania eventually got that Tasmanian Digital Television, TDT, our only digital channel, it was when we got The Simpsons. But it was like, I think it was only on Thursdays.
Wait, that wasn't a joke? Tasmania literally never got The Simpsons?
No, they didn't.
No, I mean it.
What?
It wasn't on free to air. It was on like
Because we didn't
cable?
have Channel 10. Yeah, if you want to watch it, you had to go to a friend's place who had Ozstar or something.
Your rich friend.
So the entire Tasmania is classified as rural. So we'd only have, we had SBS and ABC, and then we got Southern Cross and Win. Win is the rural version of 9, and Ozstar is the rural version of Foxtel.
Oh, right. Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
She's
amazing.
an
And
alien. It's true.
yeah, not an easy trip to jump on, what is the boat, the Spirit of Tasmania, to hop over to Victoria to see it either. Wow.
Yeah, or some people would be like, I've got a cousin in Melbourne, and they'd send them tapes. Tape from TV.
Oh my God. It was
Wow,
like,
contraband.
yeah, Gorilla Simpsons.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. But yeah, Lauren, on the other side of it, where has the show sort of ended with you, presuming you're not still watching anymore? Do you remember where you cut off The Simpsons from your life at all?
Yeah, definitely when, I guess, after school, like, once it was not on at 6 o'clock on Channel 10, and therefore it was an event for me. Like, so I reckon once I stopped going to school, pretty much. Yeah.
Oh, sure.
Yeah. And then it got bad as well.
Yeah.
Like, it entered the dark ages, and because you have such nostalgia for the old episodes, nothing else ever seems to measure up again.
No.
And it all became such a joke that it was bad that I did not see the point in watching it again.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oh, You know, there's a point, you know, trying to dig through all the mire to find the, you know, occasional good episode, like we're doing on our little project here.
I think you're doing the Lord's work. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, now that it's all available on Disney Plus and stuff, and they're keeping pretty good at keeping the newer seasons up, like the one that we just watched. From season 30, episode 18, this was Bart versus Itchy and Scratchy. First released in March of 2019, directed by Chris Clements, written by Megan Amram. In this episode,
Well, I follow Megan Amram.
Yeah, Megan
Yeah.
sings, right? She wrote this.
Yep, that's it.
But
And
she is funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
But that was absolutely not funny.
yeah, Megan Amram, big Twitter personality and writer and co-producer on The Good Place. Yeah, she works on The Simpsons now. She's penned a few episodes for them.
But she's oh.
But I also noticed, I didn't know this, I assume that someone else does, but like Bob Odenkirk's like one of the producers now as well?
Bill Odenkirk,
Bill
his
Odenkirk.
brother.
Oh, his brother. That's what I thought. I
Yeah.
mean, in that case, don't call them Bob and Bill. Fuck, what are they?
Bob and Bill.
The flower pot men? Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
I
Wow,
remember
deep
that
pull.
only because my dad used
Yeah.
to talk about it.
That was Bill and Ben. Oh my God, I'm the
Yeah.
worst. I'll let myself out.
Yeah, and so what happened in this one? There's an all-female reboot of Itchy and Scratchy, and Bart's initially mad at it, then he finds it hilarious, and then Milhouse starts up a bunch of incels, and meanwhile Bart joins a feminist rebellious collective known as Bossy Riot. Hey, what'd you guys think?
I thought that it was. I really enjoyed some of the small kind of writing along the way, like the opening bit with Krusty had me laughing. I did laugh at this. There was lots of little things. They're either hot or they're moms. Like there was some fun little pickups, but I personally felt like by the end of the episode, I didn't quite see I feel like there's always a strong sense of parody, or we're moving towards some kind of like anti-authoritarian message in The Simpsons, and I feel like they just kind of splattergunned a bunch of like sort of feminist kind of stuff, and we were kind of left kind of going, what is your stance? You know, like how can you both parody something but also without undermining it? And I feel like they pulled a punch there.
Yeah, I thought it was
That's
garbage.
my feeling. And Claire
wow.
did not like it at all. So I want to hear more about that.
I was like, it felt like watching an Uncanny Valley version of The Simpsons. So I was like, what the fuck? It's like someone has heard about The Simpsons and then created their own episode where they're like, oh, this is a funny thing, but none of it's funny. And it's the characters, but they're not saying anything that those characters would say. I was like, this is... What the fuck has happened? This is so not The Simpsons.
I definitely picked up on the fact that because we're so deep into the, single digit seasons, that swapping out to a season 30 is all the characters have kind of either moved on or they've got a different kind of voice. They represent something different now.
Yeah, those characters are not the same characters. They're using the like Lisa's wearing a Lisa suit and Homer's wearing a Homer suit and Bart's wearing a Bart suit, but they're not the same at all. It was fucking unsettling.
Yeah, I was curious how this one would hit with you, particularly Claire, because, you've gone through season 3 now and you're just starting on season 4 halfway through or something like that.
Yeah, go on. Sure.
So yeah, you're right in the peak of the classic era where the characters are so well defined at this point. Like
Yeah.
how was this in comparison?
It was none of the characters were doing anything that those characters would do. Homer was not saying anything that was Homer-ish. He was doing like a version of Homer that is not Homer. And why was Bart being friends with the bullies? Like even for a moment.
The bras were a little bit arresting
That
for me
was
as well. It's
so
like Martin's
wrong.
not allowed to be friends with him. He's the nerd.
Yeah.
However, I did
Yeah.
very much enjoy the moment that
Milhouse's mum.
No,
I did not know she existed, right?
That
I
was
didn't
something.
think that she existed. And also, why is she English?
Ralph Wiggum was getting swung around by his wedgie as a weapon,
Yeah.
and I was
Yeah.
like, "That's a beautiful moment." I absolutely love that.
Yeah.
Also, when did the Van Houtens get back together? What?
Yeah.
Oh, Yeah, around season 19, actually.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
I know, it's been a decade since they got back together.
Okay, right.
Yeah, Millhouse is, I was like, he doesn't have a mom. He's got a sad dad. Who is this English bitch, right? Like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah, her voice has changed. Someone else does her voice now.
Yeah, and she gets turned on by her son's popularity.
Yeah, some weird choices. I know that Claire, you're like, this is not right. They're all wearing Simpsons suits. But considering that they, at some point in time, would have to sort of cycle through different writers, I think The Simpsons, correct me if I'm wrong, but like the later season Simpsons is now a chance for other people to come in and write and give voice to The Simpsons, and they kind of has like a really huge opportunity for new writers.
Sure.
Of course, they're going to put, The Simpsons through their lens. And I feel like that's what Megan's done here.
It was a very much hello fellow kids though. Like, oh my God, the shit they were saying, I'm like, but in the other seasons, they sound like kids their own age, the stuff they say. But in this one, I was like, you are pretending to be a teenager, but you're not. Like, it was definitely hello fellow kids. What's going on? It was so weird. Like the memeing, and I'm like, you don't say that.
Well, to be fair though, like, Bart did question that. He was like, how do you know that? And she's like, oh, I read it.
Yeah, but he didn't say, why are you speaking like that? He was like, how do you know that?
Yeah, he's like, how do you know that?
They're two separate things. They're two separate questions. He wasn't saying, why the fuck are you speaking like an adult pretending to be a child? He was like, how did you hear about that? As though it's a secret. It was so weird.
Yeah. Yes, exactly.
No, that's the other thing that's sort of weird and like, characters wearing Simpsons skin suits sort of feeling about this is that, especially when Simpsons, are trying to take on modern issues, but don't really have anything, anything to say.
That's what I'm saying.
It.
They're still not wanting to get cancelled. Like there's still a sort of sense of fear around a kind of, I don't know, self-expression or that kind of being fearless. I don't see it here. I mean, I think that, it had some really fun points to it. I even feel like a lot of the issues they're talking about now are quite dated. Like that was even in 2019, like I feel like talking about Pussy Riot or talking about men's rights activism or this kind of like gender divide of like rah-rah women, even using the term female for the itchy and scratchy. Like we've actually, I don't know, like for me, this still feels a little bit too gender binary.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't, I feel like, feminism should be more intersectional. Like I already feel it being really dated.
Yeah. I was like, what is this, 2012 on Facebook and an all girls like feminist group? What the hell's happening?
Yeah.
So weird.
Yeah. And that's sort of the problem with Simpsons' production schedule is that, it takes them a year to make an episode, so they're always behind. And then, when it's a big room of mostly, old white guys who had already had their time 2 decades ago, still trying to comment, like, I mean, even bringing in, like, people like Megan Amram, I don't think it's going to save it too much.
Oh.
Yeah, is it still quite tokenistic? And was this episode particular kind of the same sort of like tokenistic, well, we've got to make an episode about this kind of...
Exactly, yeah. The feeling the need to comment without actually having anything to comment.
Or just that it came from a place not of wanting to actually move the show in that direction. It was more to just kind of do this sort of service in this episode at this time, and then we can check that box and move on, which is, again, a lot of the ways that women are represented in entertainment anyway. It's like, well, we had the girl version. Yeah. Now we can go back to the normal one.
Yeah.
Yeah. and yeah, as great as Simpsons is, even in its classic days, was not really great at representing the women on their show. Like, Marge and Lisa really get the short straw in that show, and don't get a lot of the great storylines.
Yeah, there's a lot of
day.
straight man syndrome coming from them. They have to be like a voice of reason, or they have to be like interventing on shenanigans. Like they're the Jackie O's to the Kyles a lot of the time as well. Even though I feel like, as we've been watching it, Claire, I haven't noticed that divide as much as...
No, they often get breakout episodes where they get to assert their independence.
Yeah.
And they do things for themselves.
And it comes from a character place. Like, like make the character complex and the plot simple, right?
Yeah. And this plot was all over the place. There was no A plot, B plot. There was like plot 1, drop that off, kill it. Plot number 2, plot 2.5, go back to plot 1, come back to plot 7.
Not to mention the biggest plot of the entire thing, which was the Boba Fett argument.
Oh, yeah. I was like, they're talking so much about Simpsons, which I'm like, that's very interesting that Homer knows. Everything Homer said, I was like, this is so not... Anyway...
Although I really did like the moment in that argument while he was buttering his pepperoni pizza.
Oh yeah, that was that was.
I mean, that was at least a bit of token Homer-ness. Yeah. Also, I do really. I mean, yes, maybe it wasn't like it was the Simpsons suit thing, but at the same time, Willie's keychain having a little bagpipe on it.
Oh, I like
amazing.
That was
amazing.
Nice. The only thing that I actually thought was genuinely funny was the line. Where they were like, I didn't like it when they had Sideshow Leonard Cohen.
I laughed at that too.
Yeah. I wrote it down because I was like, that's a nice, funny line.
And his catchphrase, hallelujah.
I did really... Likewise, like the convention with Homer just casually wearing like a Sideshow Mel hat.
Yeah.
There was some good visual gags. I think my favorite joke was don't have a lady cow. It's like, cows are ladies.
My partner piped up in that moment and goes, actually, all lady cows are actually called heifers until they give birth, then they are called cows.
Oh.
I had no idea on the naming conventions
I had no idea
bovines.
that. Is she a farmer? Like,
not that I'm aware of.
When they said that, I was like, I've never heard anyone say don't have a cow.
That's like Bart's thing. Yeah.
What?
Yes.
Okay, that is absolutely not Bart's catchphrase. What do you mean, don't have a cow? That's not what he says at all.
Yeah, it is. Maybe we haven't gotten up to that bit yet, Claire, but it comes in.
What is that, season 50? Like, they've got to
That's
move
where
on
the show
from...
really peaks.
Oh, man, it really gets... I mean, and you know what? You've got to watch every single season in order to start getting it. Yeah.
It won't make sense.
Don't have a cow. I was like, why did he say that?
Well, that's sort of another problem with modern Simpsons is that it is often so self-referential and, holding up the glory days of the past. And often, with Bart's catchphrases, like when they do the spray painting and it says, eat my skirts, and it's a play on Bart's other old catchphrase, eat my shorts.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, The Simpsons was always very sort of irreverent. It was kind of sitting on the outside, poking fun at things that, were apparently on the inside. And I guess how do you then toe the line of still being like, we're still like on the edge, guys. We're doing all this crazy comedy when you actually are the establishment now.
Yeah, exactly. It's not so subversive, is it?
No, it doesn't.
It can't be.
Doesn't. But I did enjoy, it was the 3 girls in Pussy Riot, Bossy Riot, whatever, were Chelsea Peretti, Aquafina, and Nicole Byer, our Lord and Savior, Nicole Byer. I fucking love her.
Yeah, she's great.
And I was like watching those 3 characters. I'm like, they're definitely going to be they're going to be people.
Yeah.
In my head, I was like, yeah, no, that's definitely happening.
No, I was
waiting till the credits at the end and be like, haha, I was right.
They were definitely people,
yes.
not AI-generated characters, like so often happens. But no, I was stoked with the choices of the cameos here, but it didn't feel like there were any individual characters amongst them. It just felt like they were the Bossy Riot.
Yeah, they were just passing lines between them. And actually, I felt that a little bit with the bra as well, with like the kind of collection of the, the Simpsons boys, with the exception of Milhouse. But like, that's possibly where the Simpsons suit thing comes in with that you're talking about, Claire. They just feel like these lines are just being kind of allocated to a character, but not necessarily, is this something Milhouse would say?
Yeah.
Is this something Kearney would say?
This episode was...
Just didn't feel that.
Also, another thing I hated was when Lisa started watching the episode of Itchy and Scratchy, and then Bart comes in and he starts laughing, and I was like, oh, look at him fake laughing. That's a really good fake laugh. And then it comes out that he's really laughing. I was like, no, that was... Oh, I thought he was fake laughing to make fun of it because that's how that laugh was. And then turns out he was really laughing. And I was like, they've even got his laugh wrong. Like, that's not how Bart laughs. Like, he's not genuinely enjoying this.
No.
I really enjoyed the "gonna miss me when I'm gone" cup thing, though. That was that was
Pitch Perfect.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
I thought that's quite funny.
Yeah.
Did you, Elliot? Did you not get that? Didn't get that one?
No, I've seen a clip online of Anna Kendrick doing the cop thing.
Yes.
The
Yeah.
first time I ever watched Pitch Perfect, right? I got on a train. I was a bit drunk, and then I got off at that train station out on the west side where you get off and you never get another train again. The trains never
the one
stop
between
there.
North Melbourne and
Footscray or something. It's that weird one. And you always go through it, South Kensington, right?
Yes,
and
that's right,
And I was
yes.
like, oh no, because I really need to piss. So I got off and then it was like night and I was like, oh no, it's not another train for ages. And then there was this like chick on the train station and she was like, do you want to watch Pitch Perfect with me? And I was like, oh,
Wow,
sure.
what a side quest.
Right?
Jesus.
I was like, sure, why not? And while we waited for the next train, me and this total stranger watched almost all of Pitch Perfect on her laptop.
Wow.
Somebody looked at you and then there's a fellow girl in need. I know what's going to happen here.
Yeah.
Come with me now. Pass my palm with silver and ye shall be rewarded.
While we played the cup
And
game.
you know what that girl's name was? Lauren Bach. Ah, no, I'm kidding.
Einstein. Right.
Oh, that's incredible.
That was John Lennon.
I got to ask, was she singing along with it as
Yes,
well? Or?
yes, she was actually. She was like
I'm
singing.
sorry. Pitch Perfect is a great movie.
It was fun, but it was such a weird situation. Also, even though there was no one else around for ages, she was like, "No, we have to wear the headphones."
Like one in each
Yeah.
ear? Like you had lefty, she had righty?
Yeah.
Okay. Right.
So
Aw.
weird.
Jesus Christ. Was she your age? Like what was her vibe?
I think she was a bit older.
She took pity on you.
Yeah,
Wow.
she didn't take pity on me. She was excited for a friend to share Pitch Perfect with.
You know what? She wasn't actually going anywhere. She just sits at South Kensington.
Yeah.
Just watching over and over again, being like, the people need to know.
When will my friend come back?
Excuse me, madam. Have you heard the good word of Pitch Perfect?
Do you take Anna Kendrick into your heart?
Always. I always take Anna Kendrick into my heart.
What would Anna Kendrick do?
She can play my head like a cup. I don't mind.
I can do that, by the way. I
cup
can
thing.
do that
Really?
the cup thing.
Wow.
Yeah.
You got
Yeah.
a cup nearby?
Ready?
Yeah.
Oh. Okay. Your hands are too far away from the microphone box, so we can't hear the clapping or anything. But
Oh.
that looks impressive. This is making great podcasting.
Anyway, it's great podcasting. I'll do
Yeah.
a video and I'll send it to you. I
Great.
can't do it around my microphone.
No.
So we like to ask a couple of questions on the index about the episode. So starting out, we just like to ask about the wackiness. Like, was this a particularly cartoony episode of The Simpsons? Did they use the animation space effectively?
Oh.
What do you think on that?
In terms of animation, I quite liked the end sequence when the acetone went flying everywhere and Milhouse lost his
Glitter.
glasses and the
Ooh,
glitter.
that was good,
And everything was
yeah.
slowed down and they were all like going through. But I was also like,
Saving Private Ryan, I assume?
I think so,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. But I was like, wow, that looks beautiful and it looks really well done. But I was also like, glitter and acetone is blinding for your eyes. Like, that is not a joke. I can't believe they're just allowing that much glitter to get. You can go blind. You can scratch the fuck out of your corneas, glitter in
Yeah,
your
true.
eyes. It's so bad. And acetone, that will blind you. I was like, oh, why is this not in the itchy and scratchy thing? Anyway.
So it wasn't so much wacky as it was like realistic, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that sequence was beautiful animation.
It was beautiful. I don't think it was particularly wacky because it seemed to be like any action sequence kind of was, again, reaching for a point that wasn't a point. So it almost felt like a means to an end as opposed to pure wackiness that just exists because it's funny.
Yeah.
Low on the wackiness scale for me.
Yeah, and like they had a montage set to Cherry Bomb by the Runaways where there are, I don't know, there were a couple of
It
good
was
jokes
fun.
in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, like them putting the glad wrap on the urinals and everyone getting a bit of splashback. And
Yeah,
Yeah, that was gross.
yeah, that was
like-
gross.
Gross. Ew.
Just to check in with a bit of wacky, is there really a candy machine in the girls' bathroom?
Actually, they might have been referring to the machine, which you can get like a miniature perfume, a tampon, a condom, and breath mints. They have
Yeah.
them in some bathrooms.
Yeah.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're called Slutty Sisters.
Yeah. Slutty
You know when
sisters.
if you've got a slutty older sister
Yeah.
and like she's always got mints, perfume, condoms, and a
Oh my
tampon.
God. And a
on her
miniature hair
person and
straightener
everything.
in a bag.
Yeah. But it's only in a bag because she doesn't have enough pockets. That
Yeah.
was a good bit when Bart reaches into all these different pockets and he has like a notepad and glasses and a pencil sharpener and a pencil.
Oh, yeah.
Pockets equals equality, apparently.
Yeah, I kind of hated that because I was like, all right, mate. Like, no one's ever done this joke before. Jesus.
Yeah.
My
yeah.
eyes
And
rolled
there's
back
been
into
better
the
jokes.
ocean. I was like, oh, God, I kind of hate it when people are like, we don't have enough pockets on our clothes. I'm like, fucking who? I don't give a shit. You look stupid when you have too much shit in your pockets.
There is an amazing pockets joke that Cassie Workman does that I will link you guys to.
Oh, I've seen
'cause
that.
I won't be able to do it justice.
I've seen that joke. It is good. Except I feel
It's
like
probably
I think I was done with pocket jokes in 2014, to be honest.
yeah.
But yeah, I love Cassie Workman, actually. I did a podcast with her ages ago where she was pretending to be Jason Statham.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
That'll be great. She's great, though.
Yeah. On the other side of the wackiness, we like to talk about the heart of an episode. You know, you've seen the best Simpsons, have a good emotional core running throughout. What'd you think of this one?
No heart. There was no heart.
None whatsoever.
It was cold.
Soz. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, super cold.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, well, I was thinking, when we were talking about the pockets thing before, that, there was a serious lack of Lisa in this episode.
Yeah.
About, so many of these feminist issues. And yeah.
I was like, it wasn't no Malibu Stacy, for example.
Yeah.
Not now. I'm too drunk.
Yeah. Elisa was an empty vessel in this episode.
Yeah, I mean, how does this compare to like other episodes in season 30, or are we not allowed to talk outside of the episode that we're doing?
I wouldn't say it's like there are some modern Simpsons that are like just outright offensive, and I don't think this one quite crosses that boundary.
it's-
It might not be for me to say, but it just feels empty.
No,
it's
if
not
anything, it's beyond
offensive.
it
It
feels
was-
empty. I completely
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, it was definitely not offensive.
Yeah.
But
No, if anything, I get offended by the kind of like the humor and how dated it feels.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. It just feels like they're missing the mark in this one where, other times they overstep it. And, that really speaks to the heart about how little we got to say about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
But did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? I think we already covered this. Do the characters feel like themselves?
for me, absolutely not. No way.
A little bit, but in a very uncanny valley sort of way. It definitely hit me, and I'm like, oh, this is not the Simpsons I'm used to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was even a line from Marge earlier, which I think really explained it well. Like, because Marge in the classic era is always sort of like kept out of talking about issues, She just wants everyone to be nice to each other.
And she'd do it in such a way that is so quite funny. She would often like bend over backwards to avoid talking about anything. I love her. But then when she's secretly pushed, she's like, oh, I'm learning about it's okay to want things and become friends with do you remember when she became friends with that single mum? Oh, I loved that episode.
Oh, yeah.
Laura, yeah.
Yeah, that was great.
But yeah, in this one, she just has a line, I don't know what to be liberal about anymore. And it's just like, well, that's just
not
you
a
speaking
Marge
through the character.
thing to
Yeah.
say. Yeah. Yeah.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
No.
No, I don't think I would. Again, I found myself laughing. I think I was going in being very doubtful that I was going to enjoy it at all.
I was going in open ears, open heart, open mind.
I wasn't. No, I was like, fucking okay, what's Elliot making us do? And I was pleasantly surprised with the simmering kind of joke like output. But I feel like the overall kind of plot and the execution fell short for me.
Yeah.
I would not watch it again.
Yeah, no way.
All right. And this is the fun part of watching the bad Simpsons. Let's punch this thing up. We'll start with you, Claire. What would you like to change about this episode? How would you improve it?
I would write some jokes.
Good start. Good start.
Maybe write some jokes that are funny as well. Everything. I think I'll just burn this episode, put it in the bin.
Oh, cool. Total teardown.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren?
I was thinking about that, and what I would have liked to have seen if it was Lisa that perhaps started Bossy Riot, and maybe she was kind of much more in the middle of this thing, and or her and Bart joining forces together and making a little brother-sister moment.
Yeah.
And then maybe Marge and Homer like kind of either finding out about it and then Marge and Homer. So instead of like bringing in all these different characters and throwing this battle of the sexes thing around, it actually comes into like a core family moment where it's like raising a boy and a girl and how they might be treated differently as parents. I'm like, that's what I'm spitballing. You could have all of this stuff, all of those jokes, but without kind of like trying to sort of, throw everything at the wall. Again, it would have to come back to making the characters the things that are driving this forward, as opposed to whatever seems to be some kind of external force that I can't even put my finger on. So I'd be making it into like a family episode as opposed to like a whole Simpsons world universe episode.
Yeah, well, I like that idea as well of Lisa being in Bossy Riot first, because then that like would have the reveal and then Bart go, oh my God, you're part of this, and like have him have some growing respect for her.
Yeah, because I mean, he's the rebellious one, blah, blah, blah. And when he finds out she's been pranking, and then they could join together and do stuff, I think that would have been fun. And then you could still have like the three girls involved. Like maybe Bart does recruit them somehow, and then Lisa's some kind of like Lord of the Flies top dog thing.
Yeah.
That could be cute, right? I'd like to see that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, my big change is like coming back to something we were saying earlier is with it's weird that Milhouse is leading this group.
Yeah.
So weird.
So weird. Even though he points that out, it's like they think I'm a leader, I'll do it. But it's like that is something that would never happen. If you're going to do something that would never happen, then make Ralph the leader.
Yeah.
More completely bonkers.
I'm head of the incels.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Now, that would have been slightly more kind of Simpson-y
Yeah.
if they turned it on their head at that level, but...
Yeah, well, I was just thinking, make any of the bullies the head of this, boys' rights activists or whatever, and have Milhouse be a part of it, and him turned around because, of his undying crush on Lisa, and, like, there could at least be some, things based on the characters' traits that existed before.
Sorry, wait,
Elliot, sorry, but
What do you mean undying crush on Lisa? Milhouse doesn't have a crush on Lisa.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Not yet. He'll get there. We're so early, Elliot.
What is this?
So early.
Don't be a cow. Milhouse has a crush on Lisa. What the fuck?
So you didn't know about their wedding, or?
What?
No,
No,
don't
fucking with-
troll her. Like, I've tried. It's not good. Don't go there.
I'm sorry, I couldn't help myself. All right, we are here. Claire, do you have any other notes about this episode before we rank it?
No, I just found it strange and uncomfortable. I thought it was going to be a Spring Breakers thing, but then they were Pussy Riot. I was like, okay, wrong. Wrong balaclava.
And how about you, Lauren? Any other notes on this episode?
I guess my only thought was, not to sort of go there, was like, was there a reason, did you choose this episode for us to watch?
Oh, yeah.
Is this...
Yeah, I was curious about that.
Is that
Were you
the
like,
reason?
I can't wait to see
You're like,
how
I
Claire
know,
will
we'll give her
react.
the Pussy Riot one. Or was this actually random?
More or less random. I'll be honest that there are some episodes that I've flagged that it's probably not a great idea to have an all-male panel review.
Oh, yeah.
Yep, I getcha. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, in that case, I have no further notes, Your Honor.
My only other notes. I liked the sight gag of the Great British Boiling Show.
Oh, yeah.
This
Oh
week,
my God,
Cabbage.
yeah.
I enjoyed that. I also
Such a lovely shade of grey.
Yeah.
That was excellent. Excellent.
I'd watch that.
enjoyed that.
And I also like Skinner's line, I will not negotiate with terrorists. I'll just give in. That was good. And squeaky voice teen likes being tied up in bras and stuff and left in dark rooms, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm good.
That's a new character trait for him that I didn't know. Anyway, it's time to rank this thing. And on the Simpsons Index, we rank using our 6-point scale, which starts down the bottom at failure. Maybe if the episode was meh, you give it participant. But for positive rankings, you got okay bronze, good silver, excellent gold. But for the best of the very best, the episodes which the Simpsons could not exist without, you give cubic zirconia. I'm going to go first. Let me show you how it's done. I'm going to go participant for this one. And just basically because, it wasn't very funny, and normally I reserve failures for when they try to do these issues episodes and just totally miss the mark. I don't think they missed the mark, but they didn't have anything to say either, so it just felt a bit void. Lauren, what would you like to rank
Yep,
it?
I completely concur. I'm going to say participant as well.
All right.
For the same sort of reason, especially because if you look at the other things we've talked about, how it just didn't have a heart, the characters weren't there, and the wackiness wasn't either. Come on, the scorecard speaks for itself.
Absolutely. And Claire?
Yeah, failure. It was.
Bloody loved it.
It
What are you
was-
talking about? I'm Claire Sullivan. This is the best episode I've ever seen.
Oh my god, it's better than the monorail. Yeah, failure. It was confusing, and that's not what feminism is. I'm like, you don't know how it's just so incorrect. It's so weird.
Yeah.
All right. And averaging out, that'll be a dull participant, which feels very correct. I think we nailed it.
Yeah, it does. It does.
All right. Well, let's go 14 years earlier into the past to season 16 episode All's Fair in Oven War.
Fun pun.
Yes. All right. And we'll be back. And we are back, and we just watched our Teens Era episode. This was Season 16, Episode 2, All's Fair in Oven War. First released in November of 2004, it was directed by Mark Kirkland, written by Matt Selman. In this episode, Marge enters a baking contest and finds that she has to compromise her morals to win. And in the B story, Bart gets into reading Play Dudes, just the articles. Hey, what'd you think?
I loved it. I laughed all the way to the bank. It
There
was
we
so
go.
funny. It was...
I didn't laugh. Man.
Really?
Yep.
I was...
Well.
Differing
the
opinions.
tides have turned.
Ooh.
Oh my god, trouble in paradise.
Oh no.
Well, I thought it was at least a market improvement from the last one.
Oh god. I feel refreshed. I feel like I've woken up from a good sleep.
Yeah, to be fair, we are back on track. Yes. Yeah, I will give it that. Yeah.
So yeah, one thing that like immediately sprung out from me from this episode, especially in comparison to the other one in the classic era, that the Teens Era had a bit more of like self-referential, bit of cynicism, and a bit sort of trying to shove the tropes on their head, which in some ways made this story feel a little rushed and not fully realized. But yeah, I had a mostly good time with it.
Yeah, it was like a classic telling of how a Simpsons story goes, which I was like, great. And I loved Marge's storyline, and I loved Bart's storyline. I was like, this is great. This is as it should be.
Absolutely. It definitely doesn't feel like they're in Simpson suits this time. Like,
Yeah.
we have it's almost like the improvements that we were talking about to the last episode we were going to make. This is exemplified in this. The Marge story is very Marge. Lisa is playing the right role, Bart and Homer as well. Like, it is a very sort of family-centric episode, and I think that's what I liked about it. I guess for me, I just didn't find the joke level particularly high. I wasn't laughing as much as I was in the last one. I mean, I don't know if that just is where my sense of humor is at, maybe because it's the second episode we've watched.
Yeah.
But I do feel like it is so much more character driven. It's so much more like what the kind of Simpsons should be, I would say. Definitely.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's start out the review, and I'll start with you, Claire. For better or worse, what is a moment from this episode that stood out to you?
Okay, so one little moment, it's a very little one, but when Marge, when she finds the pornos and she says, what are you reading, this Bosom magazine?
Yeah, bosom rags.
Bosom magazine, which made me laugh so much because I'm like, of course she says bosom mag instead of like dirty rag or whatever. It was just so funny. And when Bart was like, orgies, whatever they are, like
Yeah.
every single little, there were so many fucking hilarious little jokes.
And Bart turning into a little mini Hugh Hefner.
Yes, with a smoking jacket. And when they're all like,
The bubble pipe is always great.
pipe, and they're complaining, all the town's parents are complaining to Homer, and like they're like giving reasons like, oh, they're using unabashed dictionaries. And Ralphie wants to go on the pill, and I'm like,
Okay, that was great. That was so good.
so good.
So good.
Ralphie wants to go on the pill. I cackled myself laughing.
My boy told a joke about an octopus and a bagpipes, and the punchline was that they fornicated.
A very Ned Flanders thing to say.
Yes,
Beautiful.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
All these-
definitely.
Oh, So funny. And it opens because Bart got free cookies, and then suddenly 2 years later happens. I'm like,
Yeah.
all right, 2 years and no one aged. But I'm like, that's the entire point of The Simpsons. But I still like, 2 years?
Yeah,
really-
classic contractors.
I do like
tell
the
you 3 weeks.
subcontractor though. I like to kiss.
Kiss.
I'm like, no, that's pretty funny.
But yeah, how about you, Lauren? What's a moment from this episode that stood out to you for better or worse?
Definitely when they're playing jazz and Milhouse goes, "When do they start singing?" and the James Caan Godfather ending was
Yeah.
fantastic. I went, okay, nah, you've won me back.
Yeah, that ending, I was like, oh my God, beautiful.
Beautiful, so good.
Almost a shot-for-shot remake of the toll booth scene in The
I
Godfather.
love a shot-for-shot remake. I do.
There's actually
Happens
another
a lot
one.
in The Simpsons.
Yeah, there's another one from around this era where Marge beats up an attacker, like much in the same way that, the guy got beat up in The Godfather as well.
Oh, I think I
and-
saw that the other year on the street with the people who sort of gathered around. Yes,
Yeah.
there is one of those as well.
No, there is a good collection if you go look up Simpsons, like shot-for-shot remakes of things, and like, there's the Psycho one from
Yeah.
Maggie hitting Homer and all that sort of stuff. It's really good shit. Like,
My other favorite moment, is like when Marge gets in the door and then Agnes bashes into it.
Agnes.
so cartoony.
Very good. Very good.
Oh, and I also very much enjoyed when Lisa was like, looking through the keyhole, and she turns and she has keyhole around her mouth, and then it zooms out again and it says, caution, painted keyhole.
I didn't like that. I
It
thought
made
it
me
was.
laugh.
Oh, really?
I was like,
That
okay,
was so silly.
yeah.
I was like, it made me laugh so much. It was so silly.
No.
No, no. I mean, to me, that was like more of the Simpsons sort of trying to be more of a joke factory around this time. And,
Yeah, for
and that's what I
sure.
was going to say. What stood out to me is, I really enjoyed the Bart storyline and the whole thing of, if you cut out all the boobies from these magazines, it's, just a bunch of articles about, listening to jazz music and shit. And that he'd adopt this. But that storyline didn't go anywhere. It kind of hit its peak with, the kids all telling Homer's retelling of sex and how that works, and nothing happened after that. It felt like it just sort of ended.
Yeah, and I know in my mind, I feel like it's been done by The Simpsons before and better with the Grandpa's Tonic solution episode as well.
Okay, I don't know what that is. I'm like, I've never seen any of them in a competition like this. I'm like, that was great.
Yeah. Maybe that it kind of made me think that was a funnier way of doing it.
Yeah, definitely.
Perhaps.
Well, how about the wackiness of this episode? What are some of the more cartoony moments that stood out to you?
Getting electrocuted was amazing.
Yeah, and it's like,
Oh.
all right, I'm going to do that exactly the same way again.
Oh, Homer all throughout this scene I found insufferable.
Really?
Oh, really?
Yeah, even like do you like what I did with the roof there? I thought you made it too low. That to me was just such a derpy gag. Like,
Okay.
I loved that gag. I was like, this is so silly. Look how low the ceiling is. I loved it. I also liked that it opened with Blackula, which is it's a real film.
Yeah, we're talking about early in the episode. The bread maker did make
Yeah.
me giggle.
Oh my God, that made me laugh
Yeah.
so much. It was
But between that electrocuted thing and Agnes in the door, the whack factor was good.
yeah.
yeah, very, very Wile E. Coyote sort of stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, they were also big and bizarre, and this weird little ongoing jokes when Apu was like, I dreamed to run away, and then he did.
that was good.
Missing man with 8 children at home or whatever. It's like, that's so funny. And he
Yeah,
ends
just
up-
setting up this weird, his desire to skip town and go start his life again. And then, just the rest of it being told in newspaper.
Yes.
What a
Some reason
delight.
it makes front page news.
And a huge story. Story was like 10 columns, and it's not even normal size newspaper. It's not Herald Sun. It's like The Age. It's a broadsheet size
Broadsheet.
newspaper.
But how about on the other side of that? How was the emotional core for you in this episode? How was the heart? Silence.
Yeah, no, I think what I kind of was getting a little bit caught up in is that I felt like the Marge and Homer dynamic here didn't really play off well for me. I felt like Homer was almost being like the worst version of himself. like very dumb, but then he was jealous. But the same way Marge was kind of also being kind of dumb and jealous as well. She was a little like slut shaming the like play dudes and everything like that. It felt a little bit kind of cold in that way, I would say.
Oh yeah, her anti-porn stance. I'm like, no, Marge,
Yeah.
don't be
No,
against
Marge,
anti-porn,
sos, mate.
especially like vintage pornography. Like,
Beautiful.
don't throw that away. Don't cut
That's
it
like
up.
an Instagram now, Marge. Get amongst it.
Yeah, like keep it. Everyone wants to see that. It'll be beautiful. Oh. Well, I suppose Lisa kind of was like, I believe in you, Mum. Don't be
Yeah,
this
that's
like
true.
conniving
Yeah.
bitch. You know, but there was some
Those
really
dessert dogs looked real yum, by
they
the way.
did.
Oh, yeah.
And the line about I
Delicious.
stretched your father's meatloaf with sawdust.
You feed us on $12 a week? Yeah.
Yeah, if you are talking about the heart, then it does sit with Lisa for this episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sort of feels a bit contrived in that sense, though. Like, I thought it just, I don't know, happened because it kind of from a
'Cause it
story
needed to.
perspective. Yeah, exactly.
I think it's probably because both the plots were evenly weighted. Possibly, like the B plot of Bart was quite as big as Marge's A plot, which Bart's B plot could have just been an A plot, easy.
Yeah, the two could have been swapped around pretty easily. And yeah, it did feel like both of them ended fairly quickly.
Yeah, I mean, we run into this a lot of where we go, why weren't they
Yes.
two different episodes? It felt like there was more there to be.
Yes.
Yeah, both had lots of ideas, and you're like, oh, you could just flesh out either of those to make them their own thing.
Yeah. Like, yeah, I always thought with this one that, yeah, there should have been like another competition level in between these two. And I
Yeah.
don't know. But that's getting into, what I'd change about it. We're not there yet.
Yes.
First, we asked, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Are these the characters we know and love?
Yes,
Absolutely.
Yes, Bart especially. Oh, Bart was so good in this episode.
I do love me some like Cletus and Brandine action always as well. Happy to see those two. Love this for them.
Was this your introduction to them, Claire?
No, I
Possibly.
believe we've seen them before.
I'm a little.
Well,
yeah, think
I
so.
know who they are, so
Yeah, there
Yeah.
you go. Well, that's good.
Yeah, I got no real complaints on that area either. Like, it's just, yeah, mostly the show as a whole sort of feels like a wackier version of the classic era, but
Yeah.
there's no like character breaks, I don't think.
No, not at all. And in fact, watching this episode through and then feeling like it wasn't as funny in a classically kind of driven sense, and we're in the teens now, I had a little like feeling in the back of my head that it's like between this episode, which is, you know, quite character driven, it sits in that kind of, you know, that Simpsons Venn diagram we all know, and the season 30 episode, which is like, who are these people? Yeah. Was there like some kind of transition where they went, we're done with character work now because we cannot make it funny anymore, or that we've run out of premises, or we're just like, it felt to me like the character side was strong, but it suffered, the plot or the funniness suffered because there was just nowhere to go anymore. And that perhaps that means that like the later seasons are kind of like, we're going to abandon the characters a little bit in order to keep this interesting.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it, happened suddenly. It's, like
Yeah.
Fox becoming a softcore porn channel. It happened so gradually I didn't even notice.
Turn around and like, oh, we're doing full frontal now. Great.
Oh, the Naked
Right,
News is
I mean,
on
like-
all the time. Naked News 24
Yeah,
hours,
sweet.
24/7.
Yeah, flaccid? Okay, sure.
But, there were little things that happened along the way. And I think, coming back to something you were saying earlier about this is not the best version of Homer. Like, I don't know if you're familiar with the whole term of, jerk-ass Homer and all that. But this is sort of erring on
for
that
like,
side.
I think our season 1 of Elementary Springfield, Boca and I was just like, Homer
Yeah, she
is
hated Homer.
he's a
for,
fucking
like, the whole
asshole. I wanted him to
season. Yeah.
die. He was so mean and horrible and had no redeeming qualities. This guy, he cared. He cared a bit. It was like he was not like that character that was very easy to hate and a drunk and just a terrible, terrible man.
Yeah, but that still is kind of here when Marge is like, it's your father being tipsy and grabbing me from behind.
Yeah.
I'm like, gross. Gross.
But he is always tipsy and is always grabbing her from behind whenever she's cooking. Like you do see that throughout The Simpsons.
Right.
And they took a long time in the early years to figure out Homer's character to, you know, not be a boorish drunk, and how do we make him redeemable and all that sort of stuff. And like, I think the consensus is the best version is when they write him like a Labrador, I think was the quote that got thrown around the writer's room.
When he's like sweet, like when he's the episode where
the lovable idiot.
Yeah, where he's really trying to be good to his family, like when he does things that are like, I only do this because I love you, but then he fucks it up so badly.
Yeah. And he's not like selfish on purpose. He's just, you know, he's like a Labrador. He's bounding towards that ball and, you know, he's laser focused in that way. But yeah.
But I mean, the earlier versions, like the earlier seasons of The Simpsons, were playing off that trope of like an anti-family because like a lot of the writers were kind of grew up in like sort of Brady Bunch era style. So to actually make a family that was dysfunctional and to have the father not be this kind of, you know, godlike be all and end all, whoever the, you know, whenever the dad is in Full House, like these squeaky clean, like amazing, you know, images of fatherhood, like, you know, Homer was supposed to be the antithesis of that. So I guess they pitched it a bit too far and had to kind of, once the series took off and people started to invest in these characters and actually went, we don't like Homer very much, they had to kind of reframe him and be like, okay, we've been there and done that, how do we pull it back to actually making him likable, considering he's one of 5 people that we're going to have to keep writing about.
No, totally. But yeah, finding that line is, not making him a total bore, but not making him ultra squeaky clean perfect like Bob Saget, for instance.
That's exactly right, yes.
But yes or no, would you watch this episode again?
To be honest, if I could cut out so it was just the Bart's play dude storyline, I would watch that again. And I probably wouldn't want to watch Marge be evil again, but I did enjoy her trying out her evil side and overly competitive side. But
her laughing was amazing.
I wrote that down, Marge evil laugh. It was so good. Like, it was a beautiful spectrum of Marge laughter.
It was intense.
That's a decent evil Marge impression.
I'm pretty good at them, Elliot.
I would love to see an episode where Marge goes full evil and then traces it back. I would love to see that.
Well, let's maybe you can do that in what you'd change about this episode. Claire, how would you improve this episode?
Well, I make it 2 separate episodes, obviously, and then so I would make the plot with Marge, I'd make that one be the full one where she goes full evil and like she gets like, you remember how Homer gets his own devil and angel on his shoulder? I would like Marge to have her own version of them and get real in deep and like go real devil and then like come out of it and realize what she's done to her family and shit. I don't know.
Yeah, especially because she does pride herself on her cooking, her kitchen, her homemaking, that kind of stuff. So maybe playing off the image of what she believes she is and what she's willing to step down to.
Yeah.
That would be interesting.
See how far into the depths she can go.
Yes, until she goes into hell and becomes full evil Marge.
Yes.
How about you, Lauren? What would you like to change?
I would like to make it funnier. I felt like there would be moments that could have been a bit sharper or a bit like, I don't know where they were at with timing on this episode. Again, I felt there was some bits that maybe it kind of dragged a little bit and then it got too quick at the end. So I'd maybe go back and gave it just like a little bit of a once-over pacing-wise and make a choice. Like either make it for Marge or make it for Bart and like use that extra time or that pacing to actually don't go half-ass on either of them. Like pick one and actually make it an A.
Yeah.
And if we were going to pick one, then I think maybe Bart's story should have been an A.
Yeah, it's sort of a problem with the teens era as well, because this is around the time where, you know, this was the last of The Simpsons sort of being dependent on the Fox network, and the network was making them cut the episode time in favor of more ads. And some episodes were as short as 19 minutes, which is only like 2 or 3 minutes less.
That's
but,
like kids' TV.
Yeah,
wow.
But yeah, in TV time, 3 minutes can, make or break a show.
Yeah,
so,
3 minutes is really long screen time. That's, wow.
Yeah, so in that respect, I really do feel that same, push and pull of the dragging and the paciness of the episode. Yeah. And I really want to see that more exploration of Marge gradually compromising, not just in one big hit with the baby's ear medicine out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Just Just to set that up somehow. You
Yeah.
only need a line.
Yeah, just the fact she had to like run with the dishes of the hot dogs with her purse on, and I'm like, what's the purse doing? Why we got that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and just on the hot dogs, do you two watch Binging with Babish at all?
Nah,
I've never heard of that. I don't really watch reality TV.
Oh, well, it's a YouTube channel, which I guess it is reality TV. It's this guy who tries to replicate recipes that he's seen on TV.
Oh, fun.
And he's done several episodes on The Simpsons. Like, he did the Out of This World moon waffle that Homer makes with, like, the waffle and caramel wrapped around a stick of butter.
Oh, what? Ew.
Yeah,
That sounds
it's
terrible.
intense creation,
Does
and they
he-
use those the goopy Simpsons noises.
Oh.
You know when they
Yeah.
Does he make the flaming mo?
I don't know if he did. He's done like 3 specials on The Simpsons alone because, they've done a hell of a lot of recipes. He even did Ralph's grilled crayon sandwich. But
Oh, okay, that made me laugh so much as well. Did you get
Can you
to
taste the thumbtacks?
yeah.
But he did a nice because he'll do like the recipe as it is on the show, and then he'll like try to make a nice version. So he just like made it like a grilled cheese with food dye, and he also made Marge's dessert hot dog with meringue bun cookie dough hot dog. Like this thing sounds
Yum.
so sickly.
Right?
Sounds delicious.
No, I'm like I'm so here for it.
I take a small slice, mate. That's all. I might vomit otherwise, but that sounds good. I'd share it with 4 friends.
Yeah. All right. I think we are here. Yeah. Claire, do you have any other notes, parts of this episode you want to mention before we rank it?
I wrote so many lines about things that I thought were funny. It's just I really did laugh quite a lot at a lot of the jokes, like Armadillo on the Road. Loved that.
Yeah.
And Bart in the corner after he learned about sex. I'm like, wow, he's freaking out. It was great.
Do you know what a boob is?
Yeah.
That'll save
yeah.
some time.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah. I think I quite like that animation bit where all the kids tell more kids and tell more kids and tell more kids. That, I suppose we can use that as a way to explain how coronavirus gets around.
Gladys, we prepared a graph. If you want to have a look at this is how it works.
Yes.
Oh, Lord knows we need it.
Yeah.
How about you, Lauren? Any other notes?
Just loved every single second of James Caan, to be honest. Some guys like a challenge. Not me.
Oh, yeah. Him going off of Mrs. Crabapple.
Yeah.
She was in that swimsuit. Why is there an adult here?
Oh, yeah, he's going to
It
win.
was great.
Her swimsuit, same kind of color palette as her normal clothes as well. It's like
yeah.
Edna's green. Green looks best on her.
Yeah, she knows her
interesting.
colours. Good on her.
I wish I knew them that well. I just go for all of them, as you can see.
It's great.
Was that on your notes? Sorry?
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, my other notes at the bake sale or whatever, all the different loaves, the tuna loaf, the castle loaf, the loafer loaf.
Yes.
I would try them all. Also, wasabi wings, that sounds pretty awesome.
Also delicious. Yeah.
I once went to a street Christmas party, and there were 7 different dishes of potato salad, different types of
no.
potato salad. So
Claire
everyone's-
can't eat potato salad.
Oh no, there were so many different types of potato salad. No, I can eat potato salad. I can't eat mashed potato.
Mashed potato, sorry.
Very
Oh,
different textures.
I'm so sorry, Claire. I'm so look at me. I'm so sorry.
Look, I know you can't eat a banana.
Yeah, I cannot.
Yeah, but that's
Allergy thing or a
That's
texture
true
thing?
friendship, Elliot, when you know each other's food
texture
choices.
thing. It's the same thing as my potato.
yeah,
it's
we
my
have the
mashed
same
potato
texture
thing.
issue.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, like, regular... Sorry, I need to dig into this.
Yes,
just
you do,
quicker.
yeah, it's
The regular potatoes, fine.
Yeah.
Mashed potatoes, bad.
Yeah, mashed potato, even if it tastes good, I will vomit it back up on my plate.
She gags.
Yeah, I gag on
Wow.
it.
And just bananas straight out. Doesn't matter
I've
if
never
they're-
eaten a banana in my living memory.
Wow.
I can't go near them. And like my boyfriend basically doesn't eat bananas anymore because I
Aw.
think once like I kissed him and I'm like, did you eat a banana? And he's like, yeah, like 6 hours ago.
Just imagine him trying... No, hiding the banana skin underneath the rug.
You've been eating bananas again. I like to kiss.
That was so funny. I like it to kiss.
Yeah, actually, I had a couple of cartoony moments. Homer's weird fantasies in this episode.
Yes, Yes. Actually, I did write that down. His dream about meeting all the food characters and the dream about him living next door to himself.
I found both of those not funny in any way in the slightest.
I loved them.
All right.
We do suspect here on our podcast that this is sort of when Simpsons was getting influenced by Family Guy style of, cutaway humor, because I don't think there's the most egregious examples because they're at least set up with context, but yeah, they've definitely done this sort of thing, but worse. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it fell flat.
Yeah. Oh, and Marge ends the episode by saying BFD.
Yeah, I didn't know what that was.
Big fucking deal.
Yeah.
Oh! Oh my god, yeah, she said BFD, and I was like, what does that mean? And then I didn't understand her tone of the rest of the sentence, because I was like, because I thought it meant like best friend or something, and I was like, I'm confused about the tone of this sentence, because she was like, yeah, BFD, I've seen him make scrambled eggs, they use whiskey. And I was like, that's not good. What do you mean, what does BFD mean? Big fucking deal. Oh my
It means that she was swearing, technically.
Yeah.
I love the optimism, like, because she's talking to Lisa. You thought, she was just saying best friend daughter.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. I was so confused.
Best friend day.
It's time to rank this thing, and Claire, you can go first this time.
Okay. What's up above a participant?
Then it goes bronze, silver, gold, cubic zirconia for essential episodes.
Okay. Between participant and bronze, but neither of them.
You have to fall on one side. That's our rules.
Oh. Well, I wouldn't give it a bronze, but it made me laugh a lot.
Yeah, that's qualification for a
I
bronze, I reckon.
think it's a bronze.
Yeah, but I wouldn't give it a bronze.
Yeah, we say bronze is sort of like, that was an okay episode. I might watch it, maybe. I don't know.
I wouldn't watch it again, but I will remember the Play Dude stuff. That was great. Guess I give it a bronze for the Play Dude stuff.
Bronze for Playdude stuff. How about you, Lauren?
I'm going to fall on the other side, which is participation again. For different reasons this time. I just didn't think it just didn't tickle me. But I did like that it was very classic.
Yeah. No, given the review, I thought
I revert back to my same principle as I just didn't find it funny enough.
Yeah, no, that's actually a fair point. Yeah, I mean, for that reason, I'm falling on the bronze thing. I think it had, some decent story, like, setups, but it just never quite got there with any of it. And, like, aside from a lot of funny moments, it, overall lacked a bit of satisfaction that you get from the classic eras.
Yeah.
And, averaging out, that'll be a dull bronze, which, that feels right, actually.
Yeah.
Well, we will do 3 for 3 today. Who knows?
The dullard rankings. All right, and now jumping all the way back to the start of The Simpsons, I thought because you two are covering, 3 to 8, that I might take you back to essentially where it all began.
Ooh.
So, next up, we're watching Season 1, Episode 2, Bart the Genius. We will be back.
Oh, wow.
And we are back, and we just watched our classic and final episode of the day. This was Season 1, Episode 2, Bart the Genius. First released in January of 1990.
Oh.
I love
older than I am.
I love when I say a Simpsons release date so old that it makes people go, oof. Like, it just kicks you in the gut.
It does.
This was directed by David Silverman, written by John Vitti. In this episode, Bart cheats on his aptitude test and gets sent up to a gifted class, but he can't cut it in that environment. Anyway, whatever. What do you guys think?
It was so weird.
Oh my god, so weird.
To begin with, the opening title sequence was really long.
Yeah.
And there's all this extra stuff in there.
Yeah, I struggled to see past the animation a lot of the time, to be honest. It is...
All their faces looked a little scary.
Yeah, it was fucking bizarre.
Yeah.
Yes.
It kind of felt like watching a bit of a nightmare version of The Simpsons.
Yeah, well, I mean, this is such an interesting part of The Simpsons history right here because, I mean, they had the Tracy Ullman shorts, the sketches before, and which looks even way more nightmare. And they hadn't exactly gotten their animation studios in America and Korea happening.
And it shows.
Yeah. Because, yeah, even some of the episodes they had originally intended to come out before this one had come back from animation so horrible and bad that they, like, redid the schedule of season 1. Like,
Wow.
yeah, I think this one was meant to be originally in the mid of the season, but they had to push it up. So,
Yeah, it doesn't really sit for me as like, you know, the very second episode of The Simpsons at all.
yeah.
Do
Well,
you mean because of the storyline?
Yeah.
yeah, Lauren, so is this one that you might have revisited at all, like, since first viewings, or?
No, we skipped them because I think of the just sheer uncanny
Shittiness.
valley weird like, again, I just can't get past it. It doesn't feel very Simpsons-y to me. It's just, and then also like the voice recordings are pretty substandard as well.
Homer's voice. Okay, son.
Yeah, just the way they're recording, it's almost like they just don't quite have the right technology down yet. It sounds like baby's first podcast, you know? It sounds like a few weeks ago when my housemate Lisa, who also runs a podcast, she's like, I got some mics from Kmart.
Oh, no.
Right? And I was like, and she's like, yeah, they were only like $40 each. And I was like,
No.
And then she was setting them up, you know, in the bungalow where we record, and she came, like, she's like, hey, can you help me, like, with these? And we were, like, re-recording. We were using Audacity. We were using all of our mixes. We were trying to, like, make it work. And they just sounded like she was talking through fucking fly screen. And and then I was like, let's just plug the other ones back in, my ones, and just see if there's any difference. And same settings, everything's the same, and they sounded normal and fine. And she was like... Oh, and I'm like, I'm sorry, babe. I didn't want to be the one to tell you. Like, but, you know, $40 each from Kmart is not a bargain makes.
No.
Not
It's
a bargain if they're fucking shit house. They sounded worse than like a you know, a microphone on a fucking pair of like headphones.
Oh, God.
Like, it was so bad, guys. It was so bad. But I'm like, and when it comes to recording, you get what you pay for. And I'm like, I think
Yeah.
maybe Kmart bought them from The Simpsons.
A fire
Because-
sale, a stock take sale of all their 1989 gear must go.
Tinny AF. Yeah.
Oh, God.
And Anko
Yeah.
branded microphones. That is, that's bleak.
Yeah.
Look,
Yeah, pretty bleak.
I love the Anko branded coffee grinder. Works a treat. It was $10, but I use one of those Yeti microphones that I got for like $120 or $150, something from JB Hi-Fi, and that works really well.
Yeah, they hold up okay, but
Yeah.
I just feel like the idea of someone buying their podcast equipment from Kmart is just wonderful. Like,
Look, it's a mistake you only make once.
yep.
Yeah. She paid the price of
She
$40
did.
each.
Yep. And now they just sit in the corner gathering dust.
No, that's it. And, you know, as we professional podcasters know, you must get the diamond encrusted Shure microphones with a gold plating and everything. All the
I won't settle for anything less.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely not.
I need
If
mine
it's not
to be,
diamonds, then don't come near me.
yeah, I actually prefer mine to be covered in radium. I want it to be glowing.
I prefer cubic zirconia myself.
Yeah.
Simpsons reference.
No, thank you.
So how was this, Claire, as well? Like, you know, seeing the classic era, even the start of like that 3 to 8, you know,
Yeah.
how's this in comparison in tone, in animation? What do you reckon?
This was like, it was like off the chops. As I said, it was like a nightmare version. It was like, okay, so you know that's the sequence where Bart is trying to work out the train problem, and I was like, I don't think I could ever do that now. Like, obviously I can't. I would never be able to do that at his age. Like, that's nuts. But like that nightmare he was having was how I felt watching this.
You're trying to do the math and the sums in your head, and it's
Yes. Like, yeah. It was so weird. Like, their mouths were terrifying, and their eyes, and Milhouse had black hair, and
Yes, I also wrote that down.
yes, and every time someone turned their head, their mouth would have to catch up with their eyes.
Well, this
So
is also
weird.
at the stage where, like, the whole animated adult sitcom wasn't a thing yet. And for animators, they were really in new waters here. And they talk a lot about, the rubberiness of season 1 of The Simpsons, where they're still inspired by, old Disney or Warner Brothers style of animation and working within that. And it's not as static as The Simpsons had become later.
I would agree with that. And I actually wrote down that it had like an almost Ren and Stimpy like quality to it. And that said, I did find that like it did use what it could to convey things that we do see in The Simpsons a lot, like a extended nightmare sequence. I actually thought that was really interesting and cool.
Yeah, it was like Felix the cat. That's what that bit reminded me of.
Or even like the there were some of the camera angles were really interesting, like when Skinner busts him for graffitiing, and there's this like whole like high-low ratio happening of like Skinner looking down on the graffiti can, looking down. So we get a lot of POV. So you can kind of like see that, they were on the right track and kind of using sort of like filmic knowledge, but it still left a lot to be desired because just the quality was like, the mouths catching up thing. So I don't know how much of it was particularly deliberate or like just the style of the time, and how much was actually just shit.
Yeah.
Don't know.
I wasn't bored, but it was very odd.
Yeah.
I liked the 2 jokes. There were like 2 jokes in the episode as well.
Yeah, what are those jokes that stood out for you?
The sole jokes that there were, he's like, this is how I'm going to teach you how to tie a tie, son.
Yeah.
And then it's a clip tie. I mean, like, that's a joke. And then the second joke, oh, yes, when Einstein invented the light bulb.
Yeah.
That's another joke. Like,
He probably turned himself all sorts of colors.
Yeah. Like, this is so weird. They're like, oh, yeah, I only need 2 jokes an episode. That's fine.
I think they were going for more of those, story and dialogue-based jokes. Like, there weren't a lot of out-and-out jokes in this episode, certainly.
No.
How about you, Lauren? What's a moment or two that stands out to you, for better or worse?
Definitely the train sequence with that black and white, but just the numbers were red. It was almost Schindler's Listy, even though this was not even like starting to begin the sort of Simpsons reference type stuff at all. So I think that was really, I was like, damn, that's actually really interesting. I thought that was really cool. I also enjoyed just at the end when the hamsters escaped. I thought that was really cute, actually, those weird hamsters. So when Bart explodes,
I must have missed that.
Yeah, when Bart explodes the chemistry stuff, the little hamsters, you can see them going across the screen. I was like, oh, very good. That was very cute. That and at the end in the office of the psychiatrist having Einstein and Bart's pictures behind the desk and nothing else, like being held up as the geniuses of our time, the voices of a generation.
Yeah.
But it is an interesting thing with, the Dr. J. Lauren Pryor, who deifies him and just starts imposing a lot of, his own, just bigging him up, basically. Sorry, a cat just walked by my window. And
Your cat?
a cat.
The cat's escaped. Oh, no.
That was the control cat.
Oh, shit.
So you could probably tell I was a lot like Bart in school, and it's just
Shiny?
very much.
Furry?
The thing about the IQ test, so my mom is a child psychologist, and you don't do IQ tests. They're all bullshit. Like,
I
don't think they've done them 40 years. Like, I think my mom was like in the 90s. She was like, no, these don't work.
Yeah, my mum actually used to do really well on IQ tests, and it's because her dad, my pop, was just a bit of a smartass, and he liked these sort of riddles that you'd tell people, and it's the sort of shit that would show up on an IQ test. Rooster sits on the roof, lays an egg, where does it roll? Haha, rooster doesn't lay eggs, you dumbass. That sort of shit. So mum would always do really well on IQ tests because my pop was a bully, I think I'm now realising.
And that's the moral of the story.
Bully children.
Bully children and they'll do well.
Yes. Oh, God. I really liked how this genius school that Bart was sent to, the way they treated the children and the way those children spoke was like, this is just Steiner School.
I wrote down Steiner as well.
Yeah, I'm like, you kids sound exactly like all the people that I ever was friends with that went to a Steiner School, and
Yes.
the way
What's
you
a
were
Steiner
treating it-
school?
Oh, it's so I short wait. It's a rich hippie school.
Yes.
They have a lot of self-directed learning. Apart from obviously in this example, you were using computers, but nowadays they really don't. They really discourage computer use.
They don't teach him how to read for ages either, right?
Yeah, they allow yourself to learn to read, so you start learning to read in your own pace.
Yeah.
Because often if you're trying to teach someone to read, they're like, I don't get it yet. And then suddenly one day it'll just click, is the theory. And it's like, I think it's some bits are like kind of when they're younger, it's more of a play-based learning environment. It's all about kind of making your own thing as well. They
Yeah,
like,
self-directed learning.
Yeah.
Like Calvin and Tanya.
yeah. What?
Yeah, I missed that one too.
So the Calvin and Tanya, they were two of the names of the students.
Oh, I remember Ethan because he had no eyes.
Yeah.
Yeah, horror animations here.
Yeah.
Because I drew a lot of comparisons because my nephew's in like Montessori school, and that's sort
So
of
Same,
Montessori
same.
is like a slightly more like regular-ish version of Steiner. Like Steiner
Yeah.
is like this old German guy, and then someone's like, let's make Steiner slightly more accessible. And so they made Montessori. And actually, quite a lot of schooling these days, their theories have taken a lot of Montessori like attributes and attach it into regular schools. So you just
Yeah.
need to,
Yeah.
Holistic learning.
yeah, totally.
Yeah, because one of my funny, like the way I got self-directed learning was seeing a picture of, my nephew's school where they had a presentation where someone came in from Guide Dogs that day and had a Labrador and
Oh,
all the
shut
kids
up.
were into it. And my nephew was like, I don't care, I'm going to go do work over here. And so there's this picture of their classroom where like all the kids are just so excited to see this dog and my nephew's just like,
In the corner.
yeah.
That's great.
Oh, mate. No,
That's
you'll
so
regret
cute.
that later.
He was into it.
Yeah, and we asked him, and he was like, "Oh, I've got a dog at home." So, how was the cartooniness of this episode? What were some animation moments that stood out to you?
I would say the train problem. That was a beautiful moment of animation that really did just stand out.
I really enjoyed when Bart and Martin were pulling faces at each other.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I
silly.
thought that was really cute.
man.
And Homer's handwriting as well.
Yeah,
Yes.
especially when compared to. Yeah, but Martin in this episode, what a little snitch! Like,
Such a little snitch. Like, shut up, Martin.
So
Get the fuck
gross.
out.
And I thought that like he was not until they were starting to pull faces at each other that I realized there was like a rivalry going there. I just thought Martin was just being a goody because he had the best of intentions. When I'm actually like, oh no, he is being a little bitch. Oh,
Yeah. He
No.
loves
wow.
he is making sure, Bart is penalized at every opportunity.
Yeah.
Like,
it. Yeah.
I'm not used to Martin being that mean.
Yeah.
no, he was sort of a weird character where he was set up as, in the early seasons as this foil for Bart, but they just sort of, I don't know, gradually drifted him off.
Yeah, they did. Yes.
Yeah, in this one, something that actually stood out to me was, and it has to do with the heart, is that no one believes in Bart, and that's just so sad for this episode.
Yeah. Oh man, just the bit at the end when Bart's like, "It's been really nice having you just be nice to me."
Yeah.
Mate, Jesus. And they pull some like violins in the background, and I'm like, excuse me. Why am I getting misty over watching them throw a ball together?
Yeah. I wrote the softball scene because that was so
That was
beautiful.
so sweet.
Oh.
Yeah.
And like when they were giggling in the opera, they were in on the one
so
little
cute.
joke. Oh.
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Marge's like, let's encourage the learning, and even Lisa's getting in on the...
Exactly. Yeah. That's
The
when
fart
you know
jokes.
it's like, oh, actually, I thought like the whole episode had like a real kind of tinkering and playing with the idea of like high status kind of like intelligence or high art or something like that, and then pitching The Simpsons against that.
Yeah.
This is that embryonic sense of like anti-authoritarian, like establishment stuff that you see a little bit later on. I feel like that's a bit of a seed.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Yeah.
like you were saying before with the sitcom tropes as well, like, The Simpsons in the early 90s doing this, and it's like, oh my goodness, who are these ruffians? And
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. They're like, we're the low status family. Come join and have fun and make fart noises.
and parody lyrics to Toreador, which
Yeah.
this is why I know the meaning of the word cospidor. For those playing at home, it's another word for a spittoon. The one weird smart joke, though, that I've always had a problem with is the palindrome thing. Oh, Mem Saib, but Rabbi has memo. Like, I had to look it up. Mem Saib means like a wealthy white woman. Like,
Oh.
Oh, yeah, it does too. Yes.
Oh, I was
the
just
sentence
like,
make no sense.
I was like, I don't understand that either way. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no matter what way you read it, it doesn't really make sense.
Yeah.
But how was the heart elsewhere in the episode? Did you guys feel the bumps?
I guess it was just kind of with like Bart and Homer, really, when they were getting
Yeah.
along, and that was really sweet. And then when he turned at the end, I was like, oh, classic Homer. But like, oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I kind of saw it coming. I was like, we're going to get a why you little here.
Yeah.
Yeah, which was
Yeah.
which was fun to watch, to be honest. Why you're little and you see Bart's little green butt running
I
upstairs.
also wrote down Bart's little green butt.
Yes.
It was so funny and
Yeah.
cute.
Yeah, he had no nipples, but he definitely had a butt.
Oh, yeah. Once again, Simpsons, you'd never see butts on the Cosby Show.
Not on camera, anyway.
No. But ultimately, did it feel like an episode of The Simpsons? Now, this is a weird question here because when we're talking about later seasons, is it upholding the integrity of the show that we've come to know and love? This one, when we're looking at early season episodes, it's like, is this laying the foundations? Is this like
Yeah, I would say
recognizable?
definitely laying the foundations. You can definitely see where that it started in this space. Like it has like the like, yeah, totally. It's a novelty TV show, I guess.
Yeah, yes, exactly. It's already doing its job,
Yeah.
which I think it had a strong beginning in that. And even maybe
Yeah.
because this episode was meant to be later in the season, but we get it now, it's just throwing you kind of head first into like the Simpsons world. So
Yeah.
I think, yeah, it seems very typical of either like early era, maybe like not like super early
Yeah.
as it is. But, you know, if you put the animation aside, like if you remade this episode with normal animation, I think it would stand up.
Yeah, it's sort of one of those things where I think the characters are all what they would end up being anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is
but-
kind
Yeah.
of unique.
Yeah, but definitely joke per minute is not quite there.
Not quite
Yeah.
there, but they haven't started doing references yet. So
Yeah.
all they've kind of got to go on is like an actual storyline. Crazy, am I right?
How weird. So let's get into what we'd like to change. Lauren, we'll start with you. What would you like to change about this episode?
I think I already said that.
Oh, yeah.
As in, no, I just realized then I was jumping ahead. But I would be really curious to see them actually like clean it up and see what if you took season 5 Simpsons writers and said, "Hey, rewrite this." And what they might come up with, what references they might put into it, what they would change, what they would keep. I think that would be absolutely fascinating to see. But in terms of the actual kind of, you know, the way it just rolls through everything, I think that it's a really well-paced, really prime example episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, almost no notes, which is surprising from me. Surprising.
How about you, Claire?
I think I'd get Conan O'Brien to rewrite it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see what he would do. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it is hard to say with these season 1 episodes. It's like, besides saying something as, more jokes, please.
Yeah.
I guess I, once again, would have liked a bit more of Lisa in this story rather than just
Yeah.
sort of being commentating from the side. That was, yeah.
Yeah, considering she is supposed to be smart, where it could have been some kind. I mean, that does come a little bit later. Like
Yeah.
we do revisit the idea of like Lisa, basically putting a lot of her personality into her intelligence, and Bart putting a lot of his personality into his like rebellion or being naughty at school where she wants to be good. So that does come later, but like she's got nothing to say.
Yeah.
And also, I was like, are we going to send Martin to the school then? To the cool school?
Yeah.
What's his payoff? You know,
He'll never
ever
get it.
we don't get to see him again.
I did
No.
like at the beginning where they established that Maggie is the true genius of the family.
Yes. Yep, she knows that E equals MC square and she knows how to operate a firearm.
Yes.
Oh my god, the Scrabble was just terrifying to look at. Terrifying.
Just all the 2 and 3 letter words, or
Yeah, and I was like,
And I also noticed like the backgrounds as well were so bizarre. There was this weird purple kind of gradient background they kept using.
yeah.
That I kept sort of seeing there. I'm like, that is just so weird. But also, like, you can see the 70s-ness of the Simpsons house. They have a starburst clock in the background
oh right.
in the kitchen. I went, oh my god, 70s clock.
And
But,
if you look
know.
closely, you can see their shag carpeting as well.
Yeah, I'm pretty into mid-century furniture, so I clocked that.
And their couch being held up by a dictionary.
Yeah,
Yeah. I went like that because one of my previous share houses, my bed was broken, so I just used all my books to hold it up.
yeah.
Well, you've done reading them, you know.
Yeah.
Books, not just for reading anymore.
Books are furniture too.
Yeah.
Yeah, the gradients are interesting because this was at the time, again, when the animators were figuring it out, and it's just, how do we do backgrounds which go with these yellow people, you know? It's just, they're so used to designing
Yes.
around, you know, flesh tones that they're like, what do we do? And so, yeah, you'll see in later seasons that it becomes more static and, like, yeah, a lot of the houses' interiors are pink and stuff. So, yeah, the yellow stands out against
It
them.
never occurred to me that like yellow being the default skin color would actually be a problem when like creating an actual aesthetic for the entire world.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, because
Yeah.
yellow, like pink and purple are kind of the opposite of
Yeah.
yellow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it took them a season or two to figure out, but yeah, that's it. All right, I think we are here. Yeah, I'd say any other notes time? Claire, do you have any other notes about this episode before we rank it?
One thing I wrote banana because there's a close up of Homer holding a
gross.
banana, and I was like, Bok, how do you feel about that? Because that banana looks like a really well done banana, and I was like,
It was
he should have.
fucking brown.
Right? I
It
was like, he should have eaten that banana like 4 days ago.
Yeah,
Super-
or at least turned it
super
into
gross.
banana bread.
Yeah.
So this was another animation fuck up because apparently the Korean team were actually unfamiliar with bananas as a fruit. So
Wow.
they just did whatever colors they thought would work, and like,
Oh
yeah.
my god!
Oh my
yeah.
God.
Well, they like considering they didn't know what it was, they got fairly close.
Yeah. Lauren, any other notes?
The ennui. I found that character very interesting, actually, and I don't think he comes back, or if he does, he looks a bit different. I'm not sure if he's still a psychologist or whatever. So it really pegged me, like the embryonicness of all the characters and all of the story. Even
Yeah.
like the very start, the couch gag is actually Bart getting squished and then he falls in front of the television.
Yeah.
Just again, it was like I'm watching The Simpsons, but I'm not watching The Simpsons.
Yeah, like upside down world Simpsons or something.
Yeah, yeah. It was a trip. It was an absolute trip.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dr. J. Lauren Pryor, he appeared a few times in the early seasons, but like they've brought him back for like a joke in later seasons about how he's just never been there again. Like how he was like, oh, these are one of the characters that'll last forever. It's like, nah, just got dropped off at the side. But yeah, on that as well, it was his first appearance and also the first speaking roles for both Martin and Mrs. Krabappel as well.
Oh, Mrs. Krabappel, that's right.
She was there. She was so there.
And she was a very normal, mean teacher. I was like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'm back in grade 2.
But yeah,
Yeah.
just like so many of her cutting lines is just like, this test will determine what career prosperity you'll have in the future. It looks at Bart, if any. Just
Yeah.
fucking hell.
So mean.
Yeah. But I was impressed that she was so present and like so fleshed out. Or maybe that's because I'm just implanting what came before, like, or what came after onto her. But I'm like, nah, she nailed it.
No, they definitely give her a bit more depth as well in her personal life
Oh,
and
yeah.
not just making her a teacher as well. My only other notes were, why don't they have snacks at the opera, you know, beer and peanuts and opera dogs. I actually didn't know this is because I live in Sydney, go to the opera house occasionally. I had no idea that this is where my family got this saying from. It's just like, all right, where do we get the opera dogs from? You know, as a joke, haha, we're at the opera house.
Yeah. And then like the opera house staff is like, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
I get it. Yeah.
But
Yeah, no, it was really funny the 100th time I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, it is time to rank this thing. But first, just to delay it a little bit, we ask a very important question on the Simpsons Index. You know, we ask a lot of questions, but this is not about the Simpsons. And
What?
sorry to catch you off guard, but you know, so we're building a sandwich board on the Simpsons Index where we ask all of our guests, if you could have a sandwich named after you, what would be on that sandwich? So,
I don't think I understand the question.
So if there was a sandwich named the Claire Sullivan, what would be on the Claire Sullivan sandwich? What is your ultimate sandwich?
Oh, okay, I do understand. I was like, are there lots of sandwiches in The Simpsons that are named after characters that are like very common?
It's
Okay.
not Simpsons related, Claire.
Right, yes, I did
Relax.
not understand that. Okay, you go first, Bok.
Okay, I'm gonna put it out there because I don't really like sandwiches very much. But I mean, if we're talking just like bread and things, then mine would be an open sandwich. So I like to do this sometimes. I make like what is basically like a pizza toppings, but just on bread, and then you put it in the oven.
Yes.
So it'll have like a bit of tomato paste on there, a bit of garlic paste as well, either little bits of maybe some bacon bits, and then some tomato, and then like cheese on top, and then you just put in there for like 10 minutes. Comes out crispy AF, num num. All the food groups, carbs, bacon, and cheese. That's all, and maybe a tomato as well if you're feeling fun. You know, I mean, if it's a lunch sandwich, by all means, go ahead. So that would be the box sandwich of joy.
The box sandwich of joy. Wonderful.
Okay, well, my sandwich. So I've actually been making this sandwich this week. So you get like a poppy seed bagel, right? And you toast it.
Yep.
Then you butter it. And on the bottom piece of the bagel, you put Vegemite. And then you put on avocado. And then it's tomato. And then you fry some halloumi, put the halloumi on. Fry an egg, put that on. And then a thing of cos lettuce, and then on the top, it's the sriracha mayo. Put that on, and then on the side, you need another slice of cos lettuce and 2/4 of tomato, and you put pepper and salt in them.
Wow.
Fuck yes, Claire. It's got all the good things that Claire. That's got halloumi. It's got veggie and Vegemite and avo.
Yeah.
Like that's some classic Sullivan action there.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
Using
yeah.
Vegemite as a sauce to complement everything else, not just by
it
itself.
works so well. It works
I know,
so
I'm
well.
feeling that with the sriracha mayo as well. Very good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sriracha mayo. I fucking love it. It's so
Yeah.
good.
Oh yeah, I'm getting hungry now.
I've got
What
some too.
is that the orange sriracha mayo?
Yes, and
it's
it
like
has a
the-
little
kind of cupey thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it has
yeah.
a little tag around its neck which says "I'm vegan." in
I'm so
purple.
vegan. Yep.
Yes, yeah. That,
I'm thinking of that.
stuff. It's so fucking good. It's
Yeah,
so
it's
good.
really
Yeah,
Wow, that and Vegemite. I'm into it. I got to try that.
do it.
All right. Well, now it's time to rank this thing. So, Lauren, what would you like to rank Bart the Genius?
I only because of its vintage, but I'm gonna go not necessarily cubic zirconia, but I'm gonna go with silver.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, that's where I was going with it as well. You know, it's got this old Simpsons charm, doesn't break the thing. You know, it could use a bit more jokes, but yeah, it doesn't have the cynicism. There's still like a lot of warmth and lovingness from it. So I'm going silver as well. Claire?
I really enjoyed it, but I would never watch it again, so I'm going to go bronze.
No, makes sense. All right. Well, yep. Once 3 for 3, dulls all around. So this will be a dull silver.
Yay.
Oh, wonderful. Lauren and Claire, thank you so much for being on the show today. That was a pleasure.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for having us. I've had such a good time.
It was
This has
great.
been very, very fun.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm glad to take you through this tour outside the 3 to 8 bracket that you have set for
It
yourself.
was really nice to visit something else and kind of go across a breadth of different Simpsons genres.
Yeah.
It was a delight.
Yeah.
Even though some of it was I hated this. But you know, light and shade, baby. I mean, you don't know. Like you've got to some things need to be bad and other things need to be good, right?
Yeah. You're
That's it.
really
Yeah.
expanding. I don't know what this reference is yet, but people keep saying it. You're really expanding my cromulent education. I can't wait till I understand what that means.
Well, I'm glad to win big in you in such a way as well. Claire's just staring
Oh,
at
sus,
Flackers.
mate. Look, again, trying to do Simpsons references in front of Claire was never satisfying, Elliot. I should have warned you.
But if people want to hear more of you online and everywhere else, where can they do that?
Look us up on all the things. Elementary Springfield. We're available on all good podcasting platforms. You know.
Yeah, we're on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram. I think it's eSpringfield Pod.
Yeah.
Or if you just Google Elementary Springfield Podcast, then we'll be there
And
giving our elementaries. And I'm like personally on places at Bokla, Bokla.
And I'm personally on various places at Claire Cool Cat. Claire is with an I and Cool Cat's with K's instead of C's.
Cool spelling.
Yeah,
I know. Mine's easier, but Claire's is funner.
Oh, look, mine is still sitting in 2010 social media world, so that's what that spelling is.
Yeah. Oh, cool. And yeah, if you want to hear more of me, presuming anyway, listen to the Simpsons Index. I also have a scripted podcast, Pulp Fury Radio, where we do anthology fiction tales, all from different genres like Hi-Fi Sorrow.
Cool. That sounds great.
Yeah. It's like a throwback to old school radio with like exaggerated sound effects and stuff. And we got some really great actors in to do that. And we're also on Patreon, patreon.com/SideQuest Studios, where you can get bonus podcasts and support everything that we're doing here.
I also do a Dungeons and Dragons podcast.
Oh,
I should
no way.
say that as well.
Really?
Yes, way. Yes.
What's that? Plug.
It's called Dice Paper Roll, and you can just Google that up as well. So it's me and 5 other dudes having a good time. That's on OnlyFans. No, we're just about to finish Curse of Strahd, so that's the campaign we're playing at the moment. But there's lots of other little fun bits and pieces there. It's mostly comedy and mostly dick jokes. So if you enjoy that, and almost no maths whatsoever. So if that's how you like your D&D, come and have a look.
D&D, Dungeons and Dick Jokes.
Yeah.
That's wonderful. Yeah, me and my normal co-host, we're big Dungeons and Dragons fans. So yeah, be really keen to check that out.
Stop it.
White guys
it's not
with a
like we
podcast
can
all those
smell
like
each
D&D.
other out or something.
No, definitely. All right. Well, once again, Elementary Springfield, thank you very much for joining us. Thank you, Lauren.
Thank you, Simpsons Index.
Thank you, Claire.
Thanks, Elliot. Thanks, Simpsons Index. It was fun.
Yeah, it was a great time. And I've been your host, Elliot J. O'Neill. That's all the mustard in the house.
Thank you for listening to the Simpsons Index podcast, which is also an online spreadsheet available at thesimpsonsindex.com. You can chat to us online at facebook.com/thesimpsonsindex or at Simpsons Index on Twitter and Instagram. And now please stay tuned for the bonus scenes!
All right, cool. Well, if you two are
Actually,
recording...
before we start, is there a way for me so I don't see my face?
That's a good point. I just find a piece of something and I just put it over my face like that. Oh no, you can't see me. Hang on. Let me get you guys on the side.
Hide
And
self
then you
view.
can-
There we go. You just Bob,
What?
Where's
that?
You just go hide self view. It's in the 3 dots.
Oh, you can too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, this is fucking game changing.
Oh,
Yes.
awesome. I'm always like, narcissistically looking at myself as like, is my hair...
What's
Oh,
wrong with me? Why
I
do I
just get
always do it? I
distracted.
just get lost in my own eyes and how beautiful I am.
Yeah, I
know
can't
that you do as
concentrate
well.
properly because it's like, the reflection's wrong. I think it's same for
And
everyone.
because it's not in real time either, so you actually just see yourself like a moment like in the future or in the past, and you're just like,
Yeah.
is that the way I blink? Is that how I...
Is it weird to blink like that?
Am I blinking right? God, I don't know.
Oh, cool. Oh, that is so awesome. It's so much
Well
more
done,
immersive
Claire.
as well. Yeah, totally. All right, let's get stuck in.
Sure.